Well, this is a treat to have the Big Ten Network's lead studio host, Dave Revsine, on campus here today at Penn State. Dave, it's so nice to have you here.
Good to be here, Tyler.
So, Dave, being Big Ten Network, being the lead studio host, you watch a lot of Big Ten sports. Spring football practices, spring football games, they're over. What is your analysis? What are your opinions about the state of Big Ten football leading up to next season?
I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. I mean, obviously there was the breakthrough 2 years ago with Ohio State winning the national championship, and I think it was sorely needed, frankly, for the Big Ten to have a team win the national title and to feel like we're preeminent again as a league. I think there's been incredible momentum. You certainly see some of it here at Penn State with the recruiting that James Franklin has done. I think there's a feeling that they're on the verge of breaking through. You already have Ohio State playing at a championship level. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh has brought great excitement to the league. Michigan State has been a fabulous story, making the college football playoff, and I think we've gotten to the point now where you have to feel like as long as Mark D'Antonio is there, Michigan State is going to be a player on the national scene year in and year out. So that's 4 teams in one division that we're talking about. We haven't even gotten to the West. So I feel like there's a lot to be optimistic about with the state of the Big Ten.
Carl Nassib, Anthony Zettel, Austin Johnson from that defensive line, all gone, hoping to make a career in the NFL. And then Christian Hackenberg, he's going to the NFL as well, but it's a matter of where and to what team. What is your feelings towards Christian Hackenberg? He was one of the guys before this season that was expected to be a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and now after this past year in James Franklin's more spread system, he kind of has fallen. What do you think?
I think it's been one of the more fascinating stories that I've seen in college football and kind of what's going to become of Christian Hackenberg in the draft and what people think of Christian Hackenberg and how the change in the coaching and in the system impacted him. I'm absolutely, I guess I can't wait to kind of see how this comes out. I mean, I'm fascinated by that. The draft component, I think, is interesting, but I guess I'm more interested in kind of what is his career arc. Because just in watching him and going to practice, and we're privileged enough to be able to do that, when you watch him in drills and practice, I mean, the arm strength, he can make every throw, and he can make every throw from the minute he got on this campus, Tyler. And so now the question becomes, why didn't he make progress? Why wasn't he better as a junior than he was as a freshman? To me, a lot of that was the offensive line. I mean, I just don't think there's any two ways about it. Your protection is so vitally important for a quarterback. So that was part of the equation. But I also think, look, I don't think his body language was great. I think there were times on the sideline, particularly in his sophomore year, where he looked frustrated and exasperated and didn't show himself to be a great leader. But then when you deal with him one-on-one, he's great. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I'm really interested to see kind of, can he take all the talent that he has and harness it and put those struggles behind him, kind of take what happened here, the positive and the negative, and move on and use it as a learning experience and take advantage of those tools. But look, I think he's going to have to become more accurate at the NFL level. I mean, I think that's a legitimate concern, but there's no doubt that he has you look at him and you think, NFL quarterback.
I think we have seen that here at Penn State. It's a matter of which team he can really learn the most from and perform the best at the next level. But how about the fact that Penn State, during the sanction years, scholarships were limited, Allen Robinson, Donovan Smith, top-round picks that have started to really make an impact at the NFL level?
Yeah, I mean, it speaks to the talent that was here, no doubt. Look, the sanctions had a massive impact on Penn State. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. It's fairly self-evident. But what it didn't do was diminish the fact that this is still Penn State, that you're going to be able to recruit elite-level guys. Where it hurt them, clearly, because of the numbers, was the depth. And I think for whatever reason, kind of the circumstances were such that it showed up most acutely on the offensive line. That's where they were most damaged by it. But there's no doubt there were talented players here. Obviously, Coach Paterno recruited at an incredible level. Bill O'Brien recruited very well, and James Franklin has come in, and that's been his biggest calling card. So there's too much going for this place. There's too much history. The facilities are too good. The fan base is too great. the recruiting ground is too fertile for Penn State not to have players who are going to make an impact in the NFL. It's going to happen year in and year out. The issue now is, can you build a great 85-man scholarship roster so that you can compete for championships as well as turning out great players?
So let's move now from Penn State football. The NFL draft is upcoming. You're a Chicago native. The draft is now in year 2 being held in the Windy City. What are your thoughts and feelings about Chicago being the host site of one of the biggest sports drafts in the entire world?
It was really cool last year, Tyler. I mean, it's just neat for the city. And I am, as you say, I'm a Chicagoan, and I'm kind of a Chicago booster. I mean, I really think it's a great town. It really is. It has its problems like any big city does. But I'm proud of showing off our city. I think it's a beautiful place, and I love when people come and visit. And so the NFL draft was such a great centerpiece, a showpiece for the city, and gave it a chance to show off everything that it's got. And I think it speaks volumes that the NFL decided to come back. So it's neat that it's going to be there. It's incredible, the passion for the NFL in this country. I mean, it seems to know no bounds. And having spent some time in my career, I hosted a radio show for 3 years with Mel Kiper when I was at ESPN. And then when he left the show, Todd McShay came in and hosted with myself and Coach DiNardo. So I've worked with kind of the two main draftnik guys, and I understand the work that those guys put into it. And, it's just incredible to see how it's taken off and how it's made their careers, how it's made careers for guys at other networks as well. It's an amazing, amazing event, and I'm proud that it's going to be in Chicago.
Dave Revsine, lead studio host for the Big Ten Network. Thank you so much for your gracious time and safe travels back to Chicago.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, Tyler.